football is nearing the end of its 150th year, one of the longest surviving sports leagues in the world. Since the first ever intercollegiate football game on November 6, 1869 between Rutgers and Princeton, traditions and history have been made and torn apart. The hub of modern collegiate football? Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. Right in the backyard of Chicago, one of the world's largest cities, Northwestern would go on to be one of the most iconic teams in college football history. The innovation of this private institution helped make college football what it is today, even if they're not considered a powerhouse in athletics by today's standards. Northwestern has had some tremendous highs and lows throughout their existence, but there's no peak quite as high as this one. In 1995, Northwestern shocked the nation and made it to the Rose Bowl, bringing the purple to Pasadena.
My second year, the team went to the Rose Bowl. That was in 1995. Coach Pat Fitzgerald, who's now the head coach, he was the middle linebacker. He was the defensive player of the year nationally. And then the next year, we went to the Citrus Bowl. So back-to-back years, my second and third year, we were Big Ten champs. So it has to start with 1995.
That 1995 Wildcats squad was a Cinderella story with a tremendous team of players who went by the motto of "Expect Victory," as coined by head coach Gary Barnett. Even though they would end up losing that game by a score of 41-32, that Northwestern team was built different. One of the members of this 1995 team, Pat Fitzgerald, would become the head coach of the Wildcats in 2006 after the unexpected passing of Randy Walker, a legendary Wildcats head coach who died of a heart attack after leading the Cats to a Big Ten championship in 2000 and renovating the Wildcats offense to the way we see it today. He would eventually lead Northwestern to their glory days, appearing in 9 bowl games, 4 of which were wins, and a Big Ten West championship. But what about the years before that? 15 years prior to their incredible Rose Bowl run, Northwestern did the seemingly impossible, and not in a good way. Beginning on September 22, 1979, and ending on September 25, 1982, the Wildcats would lose a total of 34 consecutive games, which is an FBS record that still stands to this day. The streak would end at home against Northern Illinois, to which the student section did the unthinkable. They tore down the goalposts. Now, this was the routine for some college football teams back then. Winning big games was synonymous with tearing down the uprights, but Northwestern did something that had never been seen before. Due to their proximity to Lake Michigan, about a mile away from Ryan Field, once they tore them down, they kept walking. When they came to the south end of the stadium, they walked up the bleachers. After that, they threw them down onto Central Street. They rushed down to the post to pick them up once again, and they beelined it to the lake. Upon their arrival, they threw them into Lake Michigan, which started the tradition of laking the posts. The laking occurred after every major win from then on, until Northwestern asked their physics department to make a permanent goalpost in order to stop them from losing close to $5,000 every time this happened. So the tradition was killed, but the stories will last a lifetime. Northwestern also started many major traditions, such as being one of the first schools in America to host a homecoming football game, coming 1 year after Illinois did it in 1910. They were also the first team in the nation to wear purple as their main color, the first team to include striping in their uniform, coined as the Northwestern stripe, which created the modern football uniform that is now accepted as the norm for most football teams at any level. And they also became the first team to start a nationwide tradition of throwing marshmallows into the band's tubas. Northwestern has some of the smartest and most dedicated athletes on their teams. Being a private university, Northwestern takes no money at all from the government in order for them to set their own education requirements and choose what they want to teach in their classrooms. Northwestern has very high admission standards, with their average high school GPA being 4.09, average SAT being a 1490, and their average ACT being a 33. While also taking no money from the government, they need to make revenue somehow, which means they rely heavily on donations from their alumni among others, which totaled over $4 billion, as well as their average annual tuition being over $50,000. What did they do with all this money, you might ask? They built this. This megastructure, named the Walter Athletic Center after coach Randy Walker, was built to lure new and impressive recruits. Once committed to Northwestern, however, they have to go through a grueling week-long camp in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is one of the only off-campus camps in college football. In order to make it onto this team, you have to display one-of-a-kind work ethic.
We lift as a football team a lot, but then I have a sports center membership, so I pretty much go there and lift like 6 times a week when I don't have a sport. And even other stuff too, just like mobility work. A lot of people take that for granted, but the little things help your body heal and get you prepared for the games.
Once you display your work ethic and talent, however, Coach Fitz is almost guaranteed to come knocking. Northwestern as a team has given offers to over 70 recruits this season alone, and when they give these offers, it's almost always coming from Pat Fitzgerald himself.
Yeah, I had a bunch of other offers from a lot of schools in Ohio, a couple MAC schools, and then I got another Power 5 offer from Louisville, and then Northwestern offered me on their like spring practice day, where a bunch of recruits came. Coach Fitz pulled me over at the beginning of practice and told me that I received a scholarship offer, and then by the end of the practice, I was sitting down in his office, and I told him that I wanted to be a Wildcat.
Overall, Northwestern football is in one of the most unique circumstances in college football, being a top dog in the Big Ten while also being a private university. Their facilities and recruits are second to none, and it is one of the hardest working teams in the nation in terms of both academics and athletics alike.
Look me in the